Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Amar Elm, and today we're thrilled to have Bryan, the founder and CEO of Sky SEO Digital. Bryan brings over 15 years of experience in digital marketing, having founded Sky SEO Digital in 2015 to help businesses improve their online visibility and drive measurable results through SEO and digital strategies. We'll explore his founding story, how Sky SEO Digital is navigating the competitive digital marketing landscape, and his vision for scaling the agency. So let's dive in. Bryan, welcome.
Thank you, Mar.
Pleased to have you. So I always like to start from the beginning and see where it all started. Back before you started the company, kind of give us a little bit about your background and more importantly, what motivated you and inspired you to start your agency?
Yeah, I started doing digital marketing in '08. Previous to that, I had worked in traditional marketing, advertising, and PR. And throughout the years, after seeing how agencies were run and seeing that process of pitching clients and the client retention and sort of the agency process, about 3 years ago, I thought to myself, maybe it was time to open my own business. So that's when I founded the company.
Okay, amazing. What was the inspiration behind feeling like you wanted to start your own company?
Yeah, I think at some point you sort of age out of working at some of these other companies. It was getting to the point where I was significantly older than some of the people that were interviewing me. And from a business perspective, I get that you can pay somebody half of what you're going to pay me, who's younger, who's more trainable. But I got to the point where it seemed like I needed to be the one in the driver's seat. And I certainly had enough experience to do it. And what had held me back was you end up working twice as hard for like half as much money. But I've been fortunate over these last 3 years that I've built a solid client base. I have some interns I use. I have a web development team, and I'm doing a lot of networking, and I think it's working so far, thankfully.
Amazing. I'm curious, did you always start with the focus on SEO, or has that been an offer evolution over the years?
SEO is where I got started. That was like my first foray into digital marketing. Over the years, I've done Google Ads, I've done local SEO, content marketing, social media marketing, but that was where I got started. Today, the agency offers SEO, Google Ads, and web design primarily, though.
Okay. Is there a reason why you decided to focus on that? Is it all businesses or is it a specific type of business?
So the reason I focused on those three is because SEO has limited or low overhead, right? So if I build a house, I have to buy materials. There's a cost for that. There's a cost for labor. So there's not a high labor cost with SEO, and you
Mm,
do monthly retainers, which have recurring revenue, which any agency owner will tell you is the key to success of an agency is you need to have that recurring revenue. The
yep.
web design projects, I have my team that does them, so I'm not doing them personally, but they're one-off projects, so they're not necessarily recurring revenue, but it's also a good way to get a client interested in SEO. And it's also sometimes an easier sell than SEO because
Mm,
not everyone understands SEO. Some people have had a bad experience, but most people get what a website is, and either you want one or you don't. And if you do, I can typically help you make a good website at the right price. And Google Ads I have done for a number of years, and it can be a good way to drive additional traffic and drive additional sales or leads from your site, especially early on in the SEO process when maybe you don't have a lot of traffic, you're not ranking so well yet. But I'd like to keep it at those three. Now, if somebody wants something else, I have other partners and I can do other things, but those are the three main ones.
okay, got it. So you do have affiliate programs with other agencies, I'm assuming?
Yeah, so I have partnerships and have other colleagues in the space, but I like to think of myself as a full service agency. So anything you want, there's something we can do it. I might not personally do it, but I can help you get it done.
I'm curious, what's one misconception you find that businesses have about marketing agencies, SEO, etc., What do you feel like they're doing wrong?
Well, so I guess that's two different things to me, right? One is the misconception, the other is what are they doing wrong? Misconception is that there's like a magic bullet that if you just do A, B, C, and D, your traffic will blow up.
This
You
is,
know, your rankings are going to be amazing. You can go from 0 to 60 quick. That's just not true. There is no get rich quick SEO
yeah,
process. It's a entire metaphor, I guess, at this point, but it's like a marathon, not a sprint. And
makes
then
sense.
the other thing is what they get wrong is they try to do it themselves, or they don't understand what the agency's doing for them and they don't have that communication. So I had a client one time complain that the leads and the traffic weren't as good. And I said, your traffic's been up consistently, you've been getting good leads, but we've been getting leads from some states that are not ones that we do business in. Okay, we're only targeting Miami-Dade and Broward. And they said, also, we want to focus more on these two services. But they never told me that. So you need to, like, we don't know what's going on necessarily. We do our best to learn your business, but you have to say, hey, we want to focus on these two services, not this, or hey, we need help with this. So they don't communicate, they just write the check. It's an autopilot. They're not thinking about it. And then it's been 6 months or a year, they spent thousands of dollars and they're like, what happened?
Yeah. No, I get what you mean. That makes perfect sense. And a lot of times I would feel like, because I have a lot of friends that own businesses and they hire marketing agencies and they just want to set it and forget it. But that's probably not the best approach.
Yeah, you have to have visibility into what's happening. Obviously, you can't be a digital marketing expert, but the same way if you hire a financial advisor and that your portfolio is down consistently every year or every month, you might want to have a conversation or you might want to get a report and look and see, are you making money? So maybe you don't have to understand, maybe you can't understand the exact mechanics of how it works, but you can see your report, you can see if your traffic is up. But also, a lot of clients don't want to do reporting calls in an agency setting, especially in some of the bigger agencies. There's teams dedicated to having monthly reporting calls. That's your chance as a client to get on the call, ask questions, look at what's happening, look under the hood. You're not going to understand maybe exactly how the process works, but at a minimum, you can see the numbers and see what they're saying.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. I'm curious, for your marketing agency, we have a lot of agency owners listening to this. How do you personally acquire clients?
I think there's three main ways. One is word of mouth. One is referrals, which I'm counting differently because I do business networking and BNI, so the people that are actively looking for business. And then the other way is through organic search, people that find my website or call
Okay.
me.
LinkedIn, something like that. Have you, sorry,
Not
go
as much not as much LinkedIn. I think people do local searches for SEO agencies and call me.
ahead.
People have found me on Yelp. People have just done Google searches and seen me, but I've gotten quite a few leads that way and closed a lot of business just from people finding me online.
Okay. And then, so after they come in via these three channels, word of mouth, referrals, organic, what does the sales process look like from initial contact to sign deal?
Sure. So I always offer a free consultation. So we set up a meeting, usually a video meeting, I think is best because I can share my screen and I can do like a mini audit, look at their site if they want SEO, or look at their Google Ads account, or we can talk about their website. Basically, initial consultation, I try to turn around a quote pretty quickly within the same day, usually. And then after that, if they're interested, there's a deposit, and then we start.
Okay, amazing. So pretty simple process, doesn't take too long typically.
No, and that's something I think as a consumer too, if I want to quote for something, I don't want to wait 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, especially because if I don't get a quote soon, I might just call somebody else. So I
Yeah.
take the same approach as I'm offering packages. I don't really need to reinvent the wheel. They're there. We have them. And for the website, I can tell you pretty quickly what it's going to cost unless it's something that's very custom or like a large project.
Yeah.
So, and I have set rates for Google Ads management too.
Okay. I'm curious, over the next, let's say, 6 to 12 months going into 2025, what are the main priorities for you? What's the vision? What's the goal?
The goal would be to at least increase business by, let's say, 50% by the end of the year. But just ongoing, it's to keep getting new clients, because in an agency setting, you have to assume that if you have 10 clients on January 1st, that by December 31st, you might only have 7 or 8, because people will naturally leave for a variety of reasons. They close their business, they have budgeting issues, they aren't getting the results that they wanted, they just decide to put the engagement on hold. And
Yeah.
if it's a company, maybe there's a new owner, a new marketing director. The trick is to keep getting new business.
And do you feel like word of mouth referrals, organic, is that, in your opinion, is that like a predictable way of generating new business? If the goal is to get 50% increase by end of a year, what do you think?
I think there are probably more predictable ways to do it. I have tried some cold outreach and didn't get great results from it, but those are the three I have at my disposal right now. And I am getting new business relatively consistently, but that's always the challenge with anyone in any business, is getting more leads. And then the question is, how do you best do that?
Yeah, yeah. And then it's the conversion, then you look at what's my closing rate, all these different things. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
mean,
tricky thing being a business owner, that's for
yeah,
sure.
it's typically not too hard to close if
Okay.
they're really interested. If they're truly interested, but there are a lot of tire kickers and there are a lot of people that, do unfortunately waste your time. But in my career, I have not ever seen a truly consistent way to always get new business. The one other thing maybe is speaking at conferences, but it takes a lot of time and money, and you have to also obviously be invited to do that. They won't just let anyone go per se.
What do you feel like is the biggest bottleneck for your growth, if that makes sense?
I guess competition is one, but the other one is just pricing objections, and that people don't want to pay very much for the marketing. Although I think our prices are relatively competitive.
It's also a short-sighted approach from the business perspective. Marketing is there to generate leads and sales. So not it's we're sorry, cut you off. Go for it.
No, I was just listening to what you were saying.
Yeah, we found that it's always like the value price discrepancy. If I don't see the value in it, if I can't communicate the value in it, then the price is going to be perceived as high. But it's always a matter of, okay, sure, you think the price is expensive, but relative to what? Right? If only this was able to get you to XYZ, would it be worth it? And it's the reframes. I'm a big fan of the big sales trainers, Jordan Belfort, Cole Gordon, all these different types of guys. And they're big proponents of that. If that makes sense. I'm curious, do you handle all the sales yourself?
Yeah, at the moment, yes.
Okay. Is that something you want to delegate?
Maybe in the future,
Yeah.
but typically, I think there's a benefit for me being on the call, because I can answer questions that someone else might not be able to. Not that I know everything there is to know, but within reason, if you ask me almost anything about SEO, I can answer that question. And that would be hard to teach somebody else. So I'm okay with that person at least getting the leads and warming them up and setting the meetings, but I think I need to be in those meetings eventually.
I'm curious, let's say you had unlimited resources, right? Resources weren't an issue, but you could only use them to grow the business. What would you implement immediately to accelerate growth?
I'd probably do more ads, Google ads for SEO are a little bit tricky because the cost per click is high, but there might be some web design keywords or Google Ads Manager keywords that could be more cost effective. But also meta ads. Whenever I've run videos on Instagram, I'll usually get some inquiries, but I've done like a very small amount of that. So probably if I had a bigger budget and I did more, that would probably help. Also, more video content that I could share.
Yeah.
All that takes time and money. And actually, I had someone that I liked for video creation, but he's been kind of MIA lately.
The content creation?
For video creation.
Video creation. What do you mean MIA? Like he just disappeared on you?
Yeah, I haven't been in touch. I think he just had some personal stuff, but
Fair.
I tried to refer him to somebody else and he was not communicative, but maybe he'll resurface.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's go into the lightning round. So I'll fire off some questions at you, and just whatever first thing comes to mind, don't think too much. Just rattle away. What's one tool or resource that's been a game changer for your business?
ChatGPT.
ChatGPT. Great answer. No, I completely agree. What's the best piece? Actually, to piggyback off that, any other AI tools that you use aside from ChatGPT?
I use Perplexity.
Okay. Any other ones that you put your stamp of approval on? So this is amazing, besides ChatGPT.
I used Reply.io for cold outreach. Like I said, it wasn't working so well, but the technology is pretty cool and it can basically write responses to people, send the emails, write the messages on LinkedIn. And when I read them, they were like good quality messages that made sense, that they are very tailored. So it's impressive what it can do, that kind of technology.
Very cool. What's the best piece of advice that you've received about scaling an agency?
Trying to think if I got any advice. I think the general advice, like I said, is just keep getting more business. You have to focus on getting more business and obviously servicing the clients well, because that'll keep them as clients, which a majority of my clients have been clients at least for a year or two. And but you also need to, like I said, just look for new business.
Yeah, retention. That makes
Pension and
new
business
business.
development.
Yeah. Aside from retention and business development, what advice would you give a founder just starting their agency? Like they're brand new. They're like, hey, April 17th, I'm starting tomorrow. What
For one, you have to be organized. I use Calendly for my meetings. I use Asana for my project management. You're never going to remember every client you have. You're never going to remember every task you have to do and when it's due. So you need at least some kind of project management tool. Keep everything in Google Drive or some other like cloud-based web app system, because you need to be able to quickly share documents and access documents, and having centralized documents to track what you're doing is important. Pick at least one SEO tool like Ahrefs or SEMrush or similar. Find at least one good web developer or team. Invest in, you got to just keep using tools. DocuSign, like I said, Calendly. Getting a phone number helps that somebody could call with a recording that sounds more professional. But yeah, I guess besides all that, just networking. Start telling every single person that you've ever met what you do. People, I think, are hesitant to talk to people, but I was at a birthday party from my son's friend. Okay, I'm just sitting there. We're just talking. They asked me what I did for a living. I mentioned I make websites. I signed somebody up for a website, and we're gonna going probably this week. So just a random conversation with someone I had never met. I think people just have to be willing to talk to people, mention what you do, ask them what they do, start a conversation.
Awesome. Any mental or mindset advice?
Yeah, you can't worry that somebody's not going to be interested, or that you're not going to close them, or that you're too much money. You have to just go for it. And when I started this agency when I was 38, I'm 41 now. So you lose, I think, some of that momentum like in your 20s and maybe early 30s, but you have to just keep grinding. You have to just keep getting out there and also try and learn as much as you can, talk to other people. A lot of people, especially people like me, I'm willing to talk to you about marketing. I'm willing to show you things. The intern I just hired didn't know anything about SEO, but I'm teaching him. Look for opportunities, be willing to learn, be willing to listen, and be willing to grow.
I love that. That's amazing. And it's a testament to, hey, it's never too late. Just always keep going, always keep striving. And you never know what that next thing for you is going to be. And I feel like a lot of founders or a lot of people in life, they feel like once they reach a certain age, hey, maybe it's too late for me, maybe I can't do this. But it's like the founder of KFC started it when he was 60 years old, or 58, something crazy like that.
Colonel,
Yeah, yeah, Colonel Sanders, exactly. That story is wild. But yeah, I appreciate your time today. And
thank
thank
you.
you so much for sharing your insights. So that wraps up another inspiring episode, Founders Future. To our listeners, if you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also find more resources and insights at closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their sales and marketing efforts through world-class systems and playbooks. Until then, see you on the next one.